small things in life. I don't know why I can get so spoiled. Oh, sorry, I did not see you there. Anyway, welcome to this video, where I'm looking back on my previous poops.
That does not sound disgusting at all, does it?
But in seriousness, 35 YouTube poops I've done on my part. That's a little insane, going back like 5 years ago or whatever. And yet people still keep coming back. Like, some of them are my highest views videos on my channel. That's insane to think about, but if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have like the courage or the actual focus to create more. Some of them more recently becoming some of my favorite personal videos of all time. Not to sound like I'm sucking my own dick off, but it's true, and I have you guys to thank for that. So I figured might as well look back on some of my videos, or all those YouTube poops, and see where it goes. It's gonna be fun, I promise. I just dropped a jalapeno, didn't I? It's been a harrowing day. For my first YouTube poop, it's pretty funny to watch, but only for the fact that I thought that this was how YouTube poops work. A few too many cliches in terms of the style of video, but a few gags did make me laugh, like the whole, "I'm not amateur, I'm legal." That still gets me. Super Ted, the hero? Doing the same style I did in the first video, but somehow made it worse. I'll give it credit, the spotless gag worked. The first time, a major flaw that I am not afraid to admit, at least in my early poops, was to let a segment go on too long, so it sucks out the comedic flow of the video. The Japanese pink elephants, the pinball scene, the Omen joke, the Ted gag near the end, all those are prime suspects of my music montages that I'll come to use in future poops. But there has to be a limit for those montages before they outstay their welcome, and it is not evident here. Not the worst video I made, but in my opinion, it's certainly one of my worst poops. My, it was noisy. This one wasn't half bad, but it still wasn't half good either. Like the Super Ted video, some effects were massively dated, and it's kind of a cringer to see them today. You could argue that I didn't know that much back 4 years ago, and I can understand that, but at this point, when you know I've done better and learned more in this craft, then you can kind of see why I turn an eye at this when I know I could have done better if I redid these early videos today. But it's fine regardless, it's not one of my favorites though. Magical Pooping Tour. This is what I consider to be my worst poop ever. If you can even call it that. Half the time is spent on a gag that I don't think pays off at all. Not even poorly even. I was obviously trying to make this one a big epic, but I clearly had a lot more to learn. But even if that was the case, I would have added a few more episodes that connected somewhat to the rest that I used for the final product. So no jokes work here, the effects are still piss poor, it's just really a bad one to look back on. Boom. While not great, I still think it's okay. I remember receiving comments and recommendations while I was still editing this video, and I'm glad I started to take criticism from people close to me and making my future work just that little bit better. Not every joke works and some effects are still meh, but it's a starting point for good things to come. What happened to your trunk? The highest viewed YouTube poop on my channel, and I'm honestly surprised why that is. Not that I think it's bad or anything, far from it. I think it just barely makes it into my favorites list, but only for the fact that it balances out well. The whole thing, in my opinion, flows through perfectly, with nothing feeling dragged on. And people seem to really like it too, so I won't ruin their fun. The most controversial Thomas the Tank Engine poop. I don't think I can call this one an official poop, since it's more of a skit that builds up the obvious joke, and would be continued in an upcoming episode of one of my shows, The Preschool Guy. But it is not bad, in my opinion. I can totally understand why people would dislike the video, since it's not what they expected. But a few people did say that they enjoyed it. One person even said it was the most unique YouTube poop they ever saw. I'm happy, but should I be honored by that? Either way, it's an acquired taste, but I think the skit pays off fine. The Great Pied Circus. I think the main flaw for this one, once again, is that certain gags go on too long, like the stalking scene and the part of the choir, but what I love here is that I was officially starting to get my style, in terms of the flow for both comedic and emotional effect, and even for presentation reasons. I'm still amazed by the news coverage skit and the whole Tenacious D bit. I definitely started to take this art seriously, and I have to give credit for this video, even if I find it only decent as a whole. Jump scares, aka Jerry uses manning pitches so channels and routers enlighten suspension. There, now you know. Anyway, this is another one of my highest viewed poops and videos in general. Seriously? Looking back, I didn't laugh once. Gags went way on too long this time, and honestly, it wasn't a great choice to poop for a Tom and Jerry episode. Not much to work on. But unlike the magical pooping tour, I know I put effort into this, so I can't really pin it down on laziness, nor can I say that people are stupid for liking this one. I'm glad that I can, I just can't understand why. Even though I made the bloody thing. Happy. Probably the weakest of my Mr. Men poops, in my opinion. I'm glad it started out the whole happiness destroying the world thing, and you know, the whole running gag I still use to this day, but that's about it. Some effects are still dated, most of the jokes fall flat, and honestly, it's not executed very well. At least I learned from it to take advantage for future reappearances. Funny. Definitely an improvement from the last one, and actually has some memorable content. Not laugh out loud funny, but you can tell that this would be something I would do as a whole. Laughter. Like the happy video, this one doesn't work. There's even one joke in particular that goes on for too long for my standards now, like 90 seconds. I must have been desperate to make this seem like a good video, but like all things, quantity doesn't always mean good compared to quality. On the bright side, this would be the first poop where I overuse on Game Grumps jokes and quotes, so worth it! Merry Birthmas. This one I know I put a lot of heart into, which turned out to be a good, if a little flawed product. Yes, half of it is credits and that whole ending joke with Jesus Duck, but for what I thought was going to be the last YouTube poop I would make, leading into what I thought would be the last Preschool Guy episode I would make, you can at least see why I would go a little overboard on these choices. But the actual poop is still pretty good. No jokes outside they're welcome, and even if they did, they are more than playfully satirized by yours truly. Also, it was nice to work on a Disney cartoon that I loved growing up on, and with that, roughly a week later, I released A Very Bipolar Christmas, or Kids. Close to being the highest viewed YouTube poop on my channel, and out of all the Game Grumps YouTube poops I have done, this is easily my favorite. Does it make my top 10 favorites? Maybe, maybe not. I did have fun with the commercials that came out at the time, and, in my own way, helped promote the series as well as the video game parody comedy band that just started out back then, Starbomb. Nothing more than that. Oh, except insult people suffering from bipolar, apparently. I'm sorry if the title alone offends my audience. It was a random choice for a title long after the video was made, and I honestly could have put in something else in to describe a video where lame Christmas puns and cliches are taken advantage of. Truly, I'm a monster. The climax. While I do love watching it myself and seeing other people's reaction to these gags and such, I can't help but feel that this video is now a little dated. Something tells me if I took the time with it and really thought out the possibilities for certain gags, this would have worked out so much better. But as is, it's a good one, and I won't judge you if it's your favorite. Attack? A standard video in my opinion. Nothing bad really, it's just me doing business, but nothing special about it worth remembering at the very rate. I need to stop saying that! 11 rabbit YouTube poops. No joking guys, starting with this poop, this is where I considered that these kinds of videos have more good content than bad, and it took 17 videos to make that possible. I know it sounds like I'm sucking myself off here, but if a video doesn't have my full investment, then I believe it's not going to grab people the right way either. And this unique spin on the genre is no exception. Think of it like Robot Chicken doing a YouTube poop on itself, or just the online show leveled up. Random shenanigans happen, and nothing more. And from what I use, I think is the perfect amount of quality and quantity. The story of Ferv. I could have pooped Lambert the Sheepish Lion, but this short that I watched on the same videotape as a kid works out well too. And I mean that. There are a few jokes that I laughed aloud at, and more that I giggled at. I guess in the sense that it does the job fine. I mean, other people seem to really like it too, so that's fine by me. Oh god, I almost threw up. Bounce. Another Mr. Men poop. What were the chances? But seriously, I think I enjoyed watching this one more than the previous Mr. Men poops combined. While I think the jokes hold up well and the ending is vastly improved on, I think what makes this video work is that it's self-contained, and it's set in its own story without having to rely on the videos that I've done before for it to be funny, at least for the most part. And that can be a main reason why I can look back on it fondly. So do other people apparently. As of recording, that has over 6,000 views and not a single dislike. Must have done something right. Give it up for Ripto, everyone! If I had the ideas for future content, then this would have been a regular series in my YouTube poop universe, but on its own, it's fine. Paying homage to one of the best platformers on the original PlayStation while making fun of the story that the game itself can sometimes make fun of. Maybe one or two jokes can be a little too edgy for the sensitive audience member, but nothing ill was intended, just me being me. Moi Moi and Q-Op's 1 minute vacation. Literally, this was done in an hour, and it shows. Not that it's bad or anything, but I finally saw the English dub of this scene from One Piece after being accustomed for the Japanese audio for so long, and I knew I had to poop it somehow, and this was the result. For something that was clearly rushed and not providing much on content, it's still a nice little treat to see if you have a minute to spare. Just ignore the post-credit scene. Homoerotic pachyderms try to reenact blue as the warmest color. It's certainly not a bad poop. There's plenty of material in there that I can still find funny, especially the ending gag. And even if one or two of them go too long, you can still there was heart put into this. But, like the climax poop, I think that it's seriously outdated, and a part of me wishes I could go back and fix that problem. But it can't be helped, and it's still a fun video to watch. The Game Grumps 68.5 YouTube Poop Spectacular. On one hand, you have some content that works just as well compared to the Christmas poop that I did earlier. But on the other hand, the footage used is so naked and quiet that not much can be used to be taken advantage of. I can see why people are torn away by this one. Your criticisms are more than earned. I still think it's a decent one. 5 more rabbit YouTube poops. While a fine effort with some jokes that worked, it was not as effective as the rabbit poop compilation that it did before. I guess while they may work individually, the segments don't seem to work together here for some reason. It would have been something that would be fixed in the future, but for now, it's a little bit of a disappointment. Choki Char and the shenanigans that happen. Not a bad one per se, but not a memorable one either. I think the main gag that doesn't work is the trailer for the live-action Pink Elephant movie. I feel like the joke was too obvious, not really taken advantage of, and it takes up a fifth of the video anyway. But little bits here and there did make me chuckle, like the graph and Arnold's apparent depression experience with childhood. It could have been better, but at the same time, it's harmless enough. Birthdays for the rest of your life after 21. More of a subtle stab at how people celebrate birthdays as they get older, as well as some unpleasant experiences from it, and this was my take on it. Mixing in some experiences of my own, as well as outlining some more insane ones, led to a more surreal experience. Maybe 1 or 2 more birthday examples might have made it better, but I don't mind it either way. Kale Bear is a hunk. My own fun little tribute to 2 of the most talented, inspirational, and all-around nice guys on the planet. It's a quick little thing that does what it needs to do and doesn't outstay its welcome. But will people get mad at me now for the whole Linkin Park gag that I did for it? No offense was intended though. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. Pat's Blank Day. Ah yes, the one video that YouTube has officially striked my channel on. Twice. I should hate this video for giving me such drama and inconveniences that will last for a total of 6 months, but it's still funny! I mean, again, half the video is just a monologue for stuff that will never happen, and a preview for a new Preschool Guy episode, so points off for that. But what makes this video unique is that, outside of the rabbit poops, this would be the first time that I took 2 properties and merged them together to make a coherent plot. Does it work? In a sense, yes, but it's a YouTube poop. Really, you want to see visual and audio altered madness, and in the 4 minutes that it does that job fine. Shame that things with YouTube have made it unviewable and nothing will go on with it, but maybe that's for the best. Who wants cookies? This was just a cheap April Fool's joke on my part, nothing more. Still hilarious though. Mr. Men Rabbit Poops. Now we're back to an all-around good rabbit poop compilation, this time with the Mr. Men. I like to think that those who have seen this one have their individual favorites. Mine is definitely the Daydream segment. And funny enough, I think they all really work here together. Like you're getting a full experience with this one. Maybe the ending is a little too dragged on and maybe a little too real in its delivery. But it's the style that I seem to be getting used to, and I am not ashamed of that. Nothing else to say. This could have had the potential to be one of my favorite YouTube poops, if not my favorite in general, until a few months later. Scrooge's Holiday Capers. Right now, my favorite poop of all time. I remember working so closely with this one. That is to say, I worked on it over a week at different paces to ensure this one works as a whole, and I truly think it does. The flow of it all seeming natural, the gags connected together, and just the heart that went into this video, not just for myself, but from people close to me, and even a few people from the YouTube community. This truly was a group effort, and I am immensely proud of this poop. Probably part of the top 10 videos I have done in recent years. The Mind Rape. I wasn't trying to make this the new Mr. Man segue or whatever. I was just using a show that I really liked as a kid and using some of its episodes to create a story to fit to my style of humor. And it works fine on its own. Maybe the ending gag did go on a little too long, but other than that, all the stuff before then, there are gags that I still remember to the back of my head, particularly the Dark Souls part. I still really chuckle at that. Oh, and even the whole, "Watch that! Watch that! Watch that! Watch that!" is still funny. The Tragedy of Neocortex, Acts 1, 2, and 3. This could be a continuing series if I ever think of good ideas for the later games, but either way, this one is fun on its own. Hopefully I did it justice for any class of fans of the Bandicoot Menace. And finally, the Scary Sorceress, ladies and gentlemen. My opinion is the same here as the last one, but there are a few more jokes that really work for this one, especially the ending. Hopefully I'll do one more Spyro poop covering the return of a certain character, but only time will tell.
You know the one thing I hate about Jewish people too is that they get all the cool birds. It's like, what is up with that? I just don't get that. I'll love to show off all the swing that I would get with my how's the future of my YouTube poops? I don't know, honestly. Actually, that's a lie, I do know. I actually have a new YouTube poop coming out maybe next week. It's one that I'm pretty proud of, so I can't argue with that. And maybe I'll make some more in the future. Maybe do a couple more for the rest of the year. Who knows? We'll see if I'm bothered or not. See if I'm not too twatted to do anything else about it. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. My Little Pony. That's right. So, the thing about friendship and magic is